Log into your account from the Pearson Assessments Common Product login page. Select the student you would like to assess. So today we will assess Nikhil Linwood. Click the Start Assessment button. This will take you to the Launch an Assessment homepage where the various assessments are located and the benchmark books from levels A to 80. So the teacher will determine which book and which level to assess the student with. Benchmark books level A and also level 1 assess students' oral reading fluency and also concepts of print such as one-to-one matching, directionality, etc. Select the book that you will be using to assess the student. Provide the student with the print copy of the book you have selected from the DRA 3 print kit. If you decide that you will be assessing the student with benchmark level 1 art time, provide the student with the print copy of art time from the DRA print kit. When the student is seated beside you with their print copy of the book in front of them, and you're ready to start the assessment, click on the title of the book. This will launch the teacher assessment page. And on that page, you will see the name of the student with their user ID. You will notice the instructions and materials needed for this assessment. So you will need the benchmark assessment book, which you have provided to the student, the print copy, the introduction and preview script. So the teacher will say, in this story art time, a child is showing different things that can be used to make art. Look at the pictures and tell me what things the child has in the story. Note the student's ability to hold the book and turn the pages. If the student describes fewer than half the pictures, use your best judgment to decide whether you should proceed with this text. Record of oral reading. The teacher again will say, art time written by Pamela Blanchette, illustrated by Benton Mahan. I'll read the first page. As I read, I will point to each word with my finger. Watch and listen. Then the teacher will read page 2 and point to the first word on page 4 of the print copy and say, now you point to the words as you read what else the child has. As the student reads, select a word to record the miscues. Select the insert symbol to indicate an insertion. If needed, add notes to miscues for later review. Note if the student hesitates for 5 seconds on a word, provide the word. Once the student understands what needs to be done and is ready to start the read, the teacher will click on the Start Assessment button here on the right-hand side. And as the student reads the words, the teacher will click on any words that are read incorrectly, any inserts that are made, any omissions, reversals, substitutions, teacher provided or self-corrects. Once the student has completed the read, click on this little symbol here at the bottom of a clock. It is recommended that teachers also capture the read by recording the read on their phone. This allows a teacher to revisit the assessment later on to make sure that everything was captured correctly and no omissions were made. Once the student has finished the read, save and continue. This will provide you with an oral reading summary. So this student had 1 miscue. At this point, you can review record of oral reading for accuracy and complete miscue classification or continue to the next section. So if you want to review, click here. If you want to continue to the next section, click here. You can also have the option of restarting the oral reading if you felt it had not captured the information you needed. Once the student has finished the read and the teacher feels that they've captured the read as accurately as possible, the read did not need to be restarted, the student can be thanked and dismissed, and the teacher can complete the remainder of the assessments without the student being present. So we will continue to the next section. This will provide you with a rubric that captures the behaviors that you want to identify in the oral reading. So there's monitoring of self-corrections, use of cues, accuracy, number of miscues not self-corrected, and this will give you an overview of the performance of the student. So is a student an emerging reader, a developing reader, or an independent reader? We will click on the student self-corrects all miscues or reads accurately, or self-corrects at least one miscue and neglects other miscues. So I'm going to click on this. Use of cues, often neglects cues, pictures, sentence, pattern, visual information. Uses cues, pictures, sentence, pattern, visual information at times, or uses cues, e.g. pictures, sentence, pattern, visual information most of the time. So I will select that. The rate of reading, the accuracy has already been captured, and it's been captured at an independent level, which is less than 5 miscues. Here we'll look at the types of miscues not self-corrected. So if omissions, insertions, substitutions, reversals, or there were teacher-provided words, you can click off any of these boxes. And here you can write down any observations such as the student needed to be prompted, the student had difficulty turning the pages, etc. Once that's complete, you're now ready to save and continue. And this will bring you back to the benchmark assessment homepage. We've completed the oral reading, and that's been logged at independent. We've completed the printed language concepts rubric, and we're now ready to move on to the next phase. So instructions here say, after the student has read the last page, use the responses observed during the assessment to complete the continuum. And here is the continuum button right here. So we'll click on that, and we can now select whatever statement best reflects the read. So we're looking at book handling skills, directionality, one-to-one correspondence, and the overall performance, which will tell us whether this is an emerging, developing, or independent reader. So we will select wholes and turns pages of a book independently. Shows consistent control and points to words, consistent one-to-one match. So maybe we'll select this one. It's not consistent. There's some inconsistency. Once we've completed this rubric, we will save and continue. There is a reading engagement button that's optional, so we will skip the reading engagement for now. And finally, we are ready to take a last look at our reading continuum. Add any additional information we would like to add about this student. And now we're ready to save and continue. Once we've completed the assessment, we are now ready to create a focus for instruction. So after benchmark assessment, use information marked on the DRA 3 continuum to identify the student's instructional needs. For levels A through 1, there is not a recommended focus for instruction outside of reading engagement. Important, if the student does not meet all reading engagement benchmark criteria, select 2 or more teaching learning activities from the list below. So reading engagement. So I might select routines for reading at home and selecting and sharing a favorite book and any additional information I would like to add here as a focus for our instruction. And then we will save and continue. When the teacher has completed each section of the assessment, we are now ready to save and submit. And this can be done from the summary tab. So at the end of the summary tab, you'll find the save and submit button. When you click save and submit, the student's overall performance is logged here in the top right-hand corner. The back button will take us back to the teacher's homepage, where we will see now that Nikhil's assessment is complete and he's been logged as an independent reader. By clicking on his name, we will find his performance summary and any information that we need in terms of focus from instruction and any other recommendations going forward. It should be pointed out here as a final note that assessments can be stopped and resumed at any point. The data is saved in the system, and it allows teachers to perhaps do all of the in-person reads at one time, and then with backup recordings on a phone, the other assessments can be completed at a later date. Strongly recommended that in order to ensure that the in-person reads go as effectively and as smoothly as possible, that the teacher should select all of the books that are going to be used in advance and read the books so they're familiar with the content. It is also recommended that teachers read through each of the instructional pages that accompany the books and become familiar with the scripts and other instructions that they will be giving to students.